And through the creation of wars, several things happen. First of all, the companies which manufacture the missiles, the guns, the bullets, the uniforms, and all of the paraphernalia to do with warfare all make huge profits.
The American military elite seems to respond to the recurring need of waging wars of conquest, both to increase the control on worldwide resources and to maintain a healthy and productive war industry that is among the most profitable altogether. It only makes sense that also the tanks, the submarines, and the military planes that are produced every day must be put to use within a certain amount of time, just like any other industrial product we consume. President Eisenhower, himself a former general, was among the first ones to foresee the danger that a permanent military industry could represent for his country.
I get tired of saying that defense is to be made an excuse for wasting dollars. I don't believe we should pay 1 cent for defense more than we have to.
Before he left office in 1961, he gave a memorable speech that today appears as a lucid prophecy.
This conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes.
Because the 2 world wars in this century were funded, all sides were funded by the same people. Provable. The same people that funded the Allies in the Second World War and funded the Soviet Union also funded Hitler.
The Bush family, the equivalent of the American royal family. Prescott Bush. Does anybody know about Prescott Bush? Grandpappy Bush, the grandfather of the last Bush president.
Prescott was born into privilege and became extremely influential in business, intelligence, and politics. He helped establish the CIA out of the Army's Office of Strategic Services.
Prescott Bush was a member, the chairman of the Union Bank. This bank was financing the Nazis before, during, and even after America entered the war. An American bank with a Bush family member at the head of it was financing the Nazi war machine. After Americans entered the war, and American sons and daughters were off fighting the so-called Great War.
The Bushes have been sort of at the heart of the military-industrial complex since its very beginning, and that Prescott was involved in a firm that actually fronted for Nazi firms in America.
Not only that, but an American company, Union Oil, was providing an essential ingredient to the Nazis to be able to fly their planes. They could not carry out their operations with their Air Force without Union Oil providing them with essential ingredients.
In fact, Union Banking and its subsidiaries were seized by the United States government in October of 1942 under the Trading with the Enemy Act. After the war, the assets were returned, a few fines were paid, and it was swept under the rug of forgotten history.
This is a fact. The banksters who are behind all of this stuff finance each side of the war. They do this every time. We're being manipulated.
Why would someone want to fund all sides in a war? What is good is a war? Well, first of all, on one level, it makes vast amounts of money if you're lending money to all sides and you're also selling them lots of arms and all that stuff.
Once in the war, it was business as usual. In October 1966, President Lyndon Johnson lifted trade restrictions on the Soviet bloc, knowing full well that the Soviets were providing upwards of 80% of North Vietnam's war supplies. Consequently, Rockefeller interests financed factories in the Soviet Union, which the Soviets used to manufacture military equipment and send it to North Vietnam. This is why the war went on so long. And the bottom line is this: The Vietnam War was never meant to be won, just sustained. This war for profit resulted in 58,000 American deaths and 3 million dead Vietnamese.